Hello everyone, I'm Mike DeAngelo with That's Entertainment, and this is your video review of Need for Speed Most Wanted by EA Black Box. I'm not the kind of guy to get into racing games too much. There's just too much of a repetitive nature in most racing games for me to really justify spending my money on. In that sense, I'm usually the kind of person who would settle for the wackier kind of racing titles like Mario Kart. However, when Need for Speed Most Wanted came out, I was pleasantly surprised by what was thrown at me. There were enough different kinds of races to keep the entire game feeling fresh, and it even offered an adrenaline kick thanks to the inclusion of the pursuits. It was a great mix of realism and variety that really kept me entertained for a while. But just because the game hit all the important notes for me, does that mean it'll be one of your most wanted games?
How's your car running?
One of the more interesting things about Most Wanted is that there is a fairly developed story to it. To me, it feels like games like these usually lack any narrative, so an inclusion was a nice addition. You arrive in the city of Rockport, a place with strong ties to illegal street racing. Luckily, you've got a car that's been jacked with aftermarket improvements to help your car beat out any competition that you run into. Unfortunately, you quickly gain the attention of a racer named Razor, and his goons. They'll do anything they can to take your ride, even if it means trading paint. What's worse, the cops aren't exactly thrilled with you being in Rockport. A veteran of the force, Sergeant Cross, makes it his mission to see you behind bars and off the city's streets. He has his men on the lookout for you at all times. You won't have to go it alone in Rockport, though. You get some help from a girl named Mia and another racer named Rog, who hooks you up with important information. Together, the three of you might just be able to avoid the cops long enough to take down Razor and his lackeys.
First I'm gonna take your ride, then I'm gonna take your girl. Get ready for that.
Most Wanted mainly focuses on its races. There are a collection of different types that the player must become accustomed to, including circuits, drag races, and one called Toll Booth, which is structured a lot like some classic racing games where a time limit is replenished when you reach certain points on the track. Each one of the racers that you must face throughout career mode are part of a blacklist, an elite group of Rockport's best racers. Each of them pretty much shrug you off unless you're willing to impress them by winning some warm-up races and embarrassing some of the local law enforcement of the city's 3 districts. To really mess with the cops, you'll have to increase your bounty. This is done by causing damage to the city, performing illegal activities, and continually evading capture. As the game progresses and your bounty goes up, the police will resort to some pretty hardcore tactics, including sending their SUV Rhino units straight at you, putting down spike strips and roadblocks, and even sending out a helicopter to hunt you down. Of course, one of the big parts of the game is the customization of your ride. As you take down the blacklist racers, you gain access to more cars and more improvements to them, some of them performance parts and some of them purely aesthetic. Over time, you can manage to get a garage full of nice-looking cars. The best-looking version of the game is on the Xbox 360, hands down. It doesn't even have iterations on the Wii or PlayStation 3, making Microsoft's console the only real choice for the current generation. You can still manage to find it on some of the older consoles, like the GameCube or PlayStation 2, but you'll be sacrificing the quality of its presentation. Things look fairly realistic in Rockport. The game takes place between sunrise and sunset, and a randomized weather system which sometimes changes the look of the track adds some subtle effects to the view. The game can be slowed down with the click of a button, helping you to alleviate some of the faster portions of the game that were purposely affected by motion blur. The game's story was assisted with the work of live-action actors, and augmented with CGI scenes. It may not seem like much, but it definitely helps to push the plot forward. There's a collection of songs that really sound like a good fit for a racing title included in this game. It's a little too long for the amount of tracks that they give you, but for the most part you'll enjoy the tunes you're given. The best part about Most Wanted is that you aren't locked down into the career mode. If you want to just play around in the garage making your car look like it belongs in a showroom, you can do that. You can also get launched right into the pursuit with cops without looking to cause trouble first. You can also go back in career mode to earlier races, seeing if you can outperform yourself, which shouldn't be too much of a problem as you begin to outfit your car. On current home consoles, most racing titles feel more like simulations than their arcade counterparts. While some people are looking for this, others, who are looking for a more classic racing game experience, might find some benefit from checking out the Need for Speed series, and in particular, this game. That's Entertainment awards Need for Speed Most Wanted a score of 8 out of 10.